afternoon.
As you can see, we're out in the woods today at this pine stand, and lucky for you all just inherited this pine stand. So congratulations. So we're kind of in a predicament because I think it needs to be thinned, and Mr. Nave thinks it's not thick enough. So today we're going to be getting some measurements to determine which one of us is right. So we're going to be getting some data to calculate basal area, which is the amount of tree stem per a given area. So it's not trees per acre. It's not how many trees is in a given area. It's the amount of that area that's occupied by tree stem. So today we've set up a little course for you guys so we can calculate that. So if y'all just want to sit kind of here in a half circle.
Watch that fire ant.
And we'll go over, yeah. Y'all just want to come around here and crouch down. And I'm going to hand you guys some worksheets to go over how to do this. So we're going to give you guys 2 worksheets.
Let's just slide in further up here.
There you go. Thanks, Austin.
Alright, so as you guys are getting your worksheets from Mr. Nave, I'm going to introduce to you the tool we are going to be using today. So first of all, we're going to be doing this in 3 groups. So if y'all want to kind of get in your mind who you want to be in your group of 3.
2 teams of 4 and 1 team of 5, correct? Or is it 2 teams of 3 and 1 team of 4?
2 teams of 3 and 1 team of 2. So this is the tool we're going to be using today, and this is called a prism. It's just a very small tool, so make sure you keep up with it. It's tight in this bag. So each group is going to have a prism, and we've got 15 trees taped out here, and on the tapes they're labeled 1 through 15 in case you guys get confused. So basically what we do with this prism is we have a stake in the ground, and you need to hold this prism over your stake. So someone in your group can help keep you accountable and make sure you don't move off of it. So hold it over your stake, and then you close one eye and you look at a tree through this prism. And the image that it's going to show you is one of these 3. So this will be on the first sheet we've given you. So whenever you're looking at a tree, you know, it's just like one vertical tree like that. So whenever you look through the prism, if the tree is in the basal area, it is going to kind of break in half. And you want to make sure that you're looking at this tree at DBH, at diameter breast height, which is how tall? 4.5 feet, right?
Good.
Because we're measuring the amount of tree stem matter. So we want to make sure we look at it at DBH. So if the tree is in, whenever you look at this prism, and whenever it's transected, that means that part of the tree is still going to remain in that sight line. And as you can see there on your sheet, that would be the one in the middle there. So if y'all will label under that one just like I have A, B, C across your bottoms, and we'll see, I'll show you how to, we're going to practice that in a minute. So this would be in. If it's going to be out of the basal area, whenever it transects that tree, it's going to be completely out of the sight line. So y'all can see that this perimeter is still inside the tree, so that will be in, and this one's going to be completely out. And then lastly, the third option would be a borderline tree. So that means that one of the edges is on the border of the original tree. Does that make sense? So with the 15 trees we have out here today, your 3 options are going to be in, out, or borderline. So if your tree is in, that means that we are going to include that tree in our calculations for basal area. If it's out, we are not. And then if it's borderline, we're going to have to do a couple more measurements to decide. So before we go out there, you guys already have it measured or labeled A, B, and C. If you'll flip over to the back side of your paper and just simply number 1 through 15 so you can take note of the measurements today.
That's on the back of the sheet. Okay.
And we're going to practice how to determine. It's confusing to look at this and try to see whether it's in or out. So we're going to do a couple examples before we start the course.
Hey, Preston, can I get one of those sheets from you, please? Do you have an extra? I'm just going to put it in my pocket. Keep it with my notes. That's great, just to see your notes.
Does anybody have any questions about anything I've gone over so far?
You need to hold on to that one. You need it?
No,
Okay, thanks. works. Thank you. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Alright, so everyone got it labeled 1 through 15? Okay, and if y'all, like I said, want to split up into 3 groups, so 2 groups of 3 and 1 group of 2, and I want all of y'all to be able to take the measurements. Each group's going to get 1 prism, so I want everybody to practice using this, and then the 2 partners that aren't using this at the time, you can help keep records and help keep each other accountable to, like I said, you got to make sure it's over the stake in the ground. So, alright, if y'all don't have any questions, we will head out to the course then.
All right, let's go.
If when you get in your group, send 1 person to come see me in your group.
You want to do your group?
Yeah, sounds good. Alright, you may need to actually split this, but here are y'all's tools.
So each group's going to get a prism, and then the measurement.
2 groups of 3, 1 group of 2. Does every group have 1 prism, 1 tape, and 1 diameter tape?
Okay.
Alright, let's roll. So like I said, this first little course we're going to is going to be a practice course.
CWD we have to walk over out here, it seems.
Okay, so as everyone gathers around, so we are going to be measuring these 3 trees as our examples before we start the course. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you guys, one of these is going to be in, 1 is out, and 1 is borderline. So you know what each of those scenarios look like before we turn you loose on the course over there. So just again, I'm going to remind you of how to do this. So all you have to do is make sure this stays over this post. And over there we're going to have a post just like this one. So you just want to stand with it over the post, close one eye, and point it at the tree. It's really all you do, the trees that have the tape on them. So, and you can refer back to your sheet if it's what the borders look like for in, out, or borderline. So if everyone wants to come practice this, and then we're going to, once everyone gets a chance to practice, we'll send you over to the actual course.
1 group at a time.
Yeah, 1 group at a time.
So the first group can go up there and practice A, B, and C, and just get an eye for it, and then meet me over here.
Okay.
Alright, so who wants to be the first group? We can do it. Alright, great. Or did y'all want to? You're stepping up. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. So again, you're just going to hold this over. So like, whenever you're measuring that tree over there, you want to turn your body to face that tree because it's
Very
hard.
good.
If you do this, you're no longer over this post. So
Very
just
good.
kind of do the best you can and make sure someone keeps you accountable. Yep.
Very
And
good.
you're welcome to, if you don't want to bend down, you're welcome to lift it up. You just have to keep it
Okay.
kind of over that. There you go. So what are you thinking this one right here with the tape? That's the first one we'll be looking at.
Borderline?
So whenever I was learning how to do this, I had to refer back to my, so
Right,
if it's,
in.
in, right? Okay. Now what about that second one over there? What do you think that was?
Out.
Yep. Out, and then this one.
Borderline.
Right, okay. So he went first, he got the hard one in front of everybody. So this one right here is going to be in the basal area. That one over there was B, it's out, and then this one is the borderline tree. So,
Good.
Austin, great job. If you want to pass that over to Anna. I just want you guys to get a feel for what it actually looks like before we go over there. So you see this one right here is in. Alright, I think that's y'all. So. Oh! Alright, are y'all just a group of 2?
Yeah.
Okay, if y'all head over to Mr. Nave, and like I said, it's going to be, the trees are going to be flagged with pink flagging over there as well, and it's written with Sharpie 1 through 15, so you don't have to go in any particular order, just get all 15. Cool. Sound
Okay,
good?
great.
All right, so the next group wants to step up and practice here. So this one is supposed to look like B. Yeah, yep, so it's not very difficult. You can see that it's still inside the border of the tree. And then that one over there is A, so it's out. It's not touching it at all. And then if you turn your body, that one is going to be, see, it just borders the very edge of the tree. Got it? Okay. So, starting with
Good
that
stuff.
one, that one's going to look like a border. Okay. And then this one here is going to be the one closest to me. Yes, the one closest to you is going to be in. You can see it's like they almost mesh together and close together. And then the one far away, there to the left, is out, completely out of the tree. Got it? Yeah. Perfect. Now we're catching on fast. So if y'all's team just wants to stay here till they get a little bit of a head start.
And I'll go over with y'all to kind of see what's going on, okay?
It's going to be in.
Do you hear that?
Got it?
That's a red-shouldered hawk flying. Is it going that way? That sounds like it. Isn't that neat?
Got it?
Red shoulder.
I'm going to borrow my prism, Steph. You want to go next? Or go grab? There you go.
All right.
This is a really cool little tool. I didn't realize what just a small tool can do for you.
You know, it's something that we used to teach in this course during the forestry I would do, but now we kind of have replaced it with other things. I'm so glad you could teach us. You know, it's called a variable plot, variable radius plot sampling technique, because the plot is in a circle.
That's kind of cool.
You know?
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah. Saves you a lot of time out in the
Right,
woods.
right. A lot of walking.
Uh-huh.
So that one to the far left, you see how it's out? Yeah. Okay.
I'll tell y'all when we're done how I used to introduce this, the interest approach I would use. It was kind of funny.
So that one is going to be borderline. Have you done this before? You can see how whenever it transects the tree, the part that kind of gets kicked out of the image is still bordering the edge of the tree.
Okay.
So then this one right here is going to be in. And y'all are welcome to refer, the directions that I told you guys at the beginning are on this sheet. So if y'all have any questions while you're doing it, if we're not available, on the sheet.
Wonderful. Thanks. Very good.
Alright, does anybody have any questions about that? Alright, well if y'all want to head that way, and if at any time if y'all have any questions and say, you know, I don't know if this tree's in or out, let me come refer back to the ones that I do know are in or out, you're totally welcome to.
Okay.
Walk back over here. So we'll head over there to
I'll follow y'all. All right. Wonderful.
You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to go that one border. You can
Go in any order you want.
So this stake that has the flagging is the one we're going to be using today, just like we did over there. So
Alright, if you want to hop on for your group. Do you have somebody that can record for you?
if y'all just want to keep
Tiffany there.
one sheet as a group, you know how we numbered 1 through 15? I just want to keep one sheet with the data on it.
If y'all can like kind of part,
Yes, they'll be
try
flagged.
to refrain from standing in front of the flag trees.
No.
Sticks.
Stand right in the way.
That's right. Anna will be able to determine if you're in or out. That's right. People are in or out. And it will too.
Order.
Order.
Oh, well,
And if you ever
same answer.
need a reminder on some of the rules of the prism, there's guidelines on this paper for you to refer to.
And I told them if they had a question about one of them, they could
We could probably get a third
And-
person.
Sorry.
What's it? Kind of work together there. And then we got one more. Oh, thank you.
Out. Do we have more?
That's it.
Is that all 15? Okay, if the group that's finished up, y'all want to step over here. This one right here. That one's 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow my sewing.
Okay, so the third group, if you all want to hop over here.
Thanks. Did you get a chance to look at some of them too, or no?
No.
No. Oh. Sorry, but you did some
I
over there.
did the
too.
practice
Yeah.
one, yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
There's a couple that whenever we were trying to find these, we had a hard time. That's why it's so important to stay over that stake, because if you veer away from it, one that looks like a borderline may be actually in or out. So
Great point.
and again, it makes your results consistent. So it's probably good that you had one person do all three of them. You know. So all right, so we'll secretly go over what you got, and we'll go over as a class again. But what'd you get for number 1? Okay, so that would be. It's alright, I just go in and out on mine. Okay. And then for 2. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wait, what'd you get for 11?
Feel free to watch it.
Click that one again. You do that.
Okay.
You got, what'd you get for 12? 13, 14, 13.
Pop in there. Try to work around it.
Okay. Okay, check 11 and 15 again. Take that one. Also, you take the prism and see what you get from that. Y'all compare. No, it's good practice.
That's why we're here. That's right. That's good stuff.
I'll find it.
There's the one way back there. I didn't see it. Let's try to look at breast height. Yeah, we'll measure that. Okay. That should be on the sheet as well.
Which one are you trying to look at, Casey?
X2.
This is like
You may have to slide off the plate. Alright.
yeah, if you can stay in line, yeah, you're still in line with it. You're just this side a little bit. There you go.
Yeah, it's good.
And y'all are welcome to just write in, out, or borderline. You don't have to refer back to ABC if you don't want to. That's fine. Yes, what did you say? 3. Did you get that one?
Which number is that? That one?
Yeah, this is 6. We do not have. You don't have 6 yet.
How many does Casey's group have?
There you go. So remember, yeah, there you go. Now you're perfect. I need to get closer to it. Yeah, sometimes like I find myself put it on the stake and then lift it up and I'll move it. So sometimes I have to double check.
Can we get a lens of the number those are?
Which one do you need, and I can check it for you.
Yeah, that one.
This one is 2.
Back.
This one's 3. This one is 5. 4 is in.
Oh wait, we did 5 wrong. That one, that was the one. 5 down. There you go. So, right behind it.
This one with the curve.
Oh, that one, 3.
This one right here is 2. This is 2 right here. Alright, the borderline.
Into that tree.
Did that one 7 right?
Do you know which one the furthest one away is?
What? Right there.
Got it? Okay, now let's take over here with me. How's it going?
Yeah, we already did this.
That back one is number 3. That's, yeah. So, see if you can scoot a little bit this way, Tiffany. Yeah. And you can kind of go in between these two trees. Gotcha. Al, you guys want to double check again?
Yeah, 11 and 15. It's kind of off to the side, but hopefully it's accurate.
That last one over there is Al. Yeah, that's 11 again.
Are you serious?
What's the third option?
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay. I'm gonna say because I was like a few feet away
Process of
from the thing.
elimination.
Yeah, you had it as in before, right?
Yeah, I had it in.
It may just be as simple as just kind of scooting to the side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I was
we
kind of like
marked that
doing
one
it
as that,
from
but we'll
the
see if
side.
everyone else gets it.
Okay.
That one's probably my error.
No, it's all good. It's hard to, especially when we're sharing the same steak, for
Yeah.
everyone to get in. So,
Blame it on that for sure.
yeah, for sure. And y'all are welcome to. If y'all want to practice some more, you can find like just like a landmark. Like if you this is a steak.
Fight for the steak. Not don't actually fight, but yeah, you gotta be aggressive on it.
Does anybody else have all 15 of theirs filled out that wants to check?
It's great. That's the hardest thing, is staying on the stake.
Like I told Casey, anybody else that might be struggling with staying on the stake, just imagine your wrist, or your hand where the prism is mounted onto it, and it can't come off, and then just twist and come. That is in. Have y'all gotten all 15? You okay? You want to come over here? In? Did everybody get to look through the prism? If not, we can get back on.
Way down there.
Good, good.
13, 14, and then way back there is 15.
Looking good on time, Preston. About 23 in. That's great. Just give you an idea how long that is, you know.
Good form over there, Kaysen. If anybody else on Kaysen's team wants to look through the prism, go ahead and feel free to. Did y'all get to look over at the example? It's easy to use. It's just the hard part is those border lines, or maybe when you get two trees right beside each other and they both move.
Mm-hmm.
Counts close enough or not?
I think the major rule you need to keep in mind with that border line is the inside of the refracted piece and the outside of the trunk, they have to, form a line. If there's any overlap, that's an in. It has to be just one straight line. And you can always measure to check, even if you're just a little suspicious.
Good. What you got there? You got a little buddy there. There you go. Oh, cool. Very nice.
How we check is distance and then diameter.
12, 13, check that one. 14, 15, check that one. So just check those 3 stars. And what you may want to do is, those are kind of tricky ones. I was telling them the borderline can differ if you move off of that post. So maybe you just have 2 of y'all look at them next time, just to have someone double check you. Okay. Yeah, they're just checking a couple, and then once y'all finish yours, we'll move on to the next one.
So 11, 13, and 15. So,
And Allie just let you know about 25 minutes in. Just let you know where you are. That's great.
that was
Okay.
11.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so y'all got your last two. Mary Claire, if your team wants to come.
And when checking them, if somebody hasn't got to use a prism, go ahead and let them check it.
Yeah. Okay, so. Dr. Irvin.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Gosh.
Okay.
See if I'm in or not. Sorry. Get out of the way.
So I think 13 is this one right here. Step straight ahead. Yeah, right.
Borderline's the toughest part.
Yeah, for sure.
I know, I've only got like first job back since
What was 13? 13 is straight ahead, so.
worked for like the Delta. I got laid off because of
Yep, we're right
COVID.
over there.
Yeah, but it was like the best thing that's ever happened because I got to go back to school. But
Wait, yeah, 13 straight ahead? Yeah. I don't know, it's not like a perfect line. So say it's like, it's in.
1275.
He's in barely.
Yeah. This is, well, okay, so this is a perfect. This is kind of a hint. So with the border lines, at the end of the day, are going to be in or out. We're going to do some calculations to determine. So if you're not sure about it, then go ahead and mark it as borderline, and we can calculate to confirm or decline that hypothesis. So with that being said, what did y'all end up with? Yeah, we got 15.
Is that it? Right there?
Right here.
Well then, yeah.
What's the one way back there? That's one from our practice course.
Oh, well.
It's alright. Okay, well that's okay. That's probably how we got it wrong. Well, you're good. So that's probably why you had the, yeah, so.
Only
Scratch that one out.
I second the borderline.
Alright, you got borderline? I feel confident with that.
I second the borderline.
Yeah, we'll do it like a group.
Alright guys, if y'all want to come back together and we're going to compare answers as a group.
Wonderful.
We should all have similar answers hopefully. So I'm just going to read the number and y'all tell me what you got. Just say in, out, or borderline. So with number 1, what do you get? In. Number 2. Number 3.
Borderline.
Number 4.
In.
Number 5.
Out.
Number 6.
In.
Thank you, Austin. Number 7.
In.
Number 8.
Out.
Number 9.
Borderline.
Number 10.
In.
Number 11.
Out.
Number 12.
In.
Number 13.
Border.
Number 14.
In.
Number 15.
Border.
Perfect, guys.
Okay.
You guys all got right answers.
So, I'm going to borrow this tape.
Go for it.
You can also borrow that diameter tape by time.
So like I was telling other groups, the borderlines are the hardest to determine because it can depend on who's holding the prism, if you move it slightly over. But at the end of the day, the borderlines we're either going to determine are in or out. So if you're ever not sure about something, go ahead and mark it as borderline because we can do calculations. Sure, yeah.
So, like Ellie just said, and before we measure a borderline to determine if it's in or out, I'm going to quickly explain to you why we mark trees as borderline and why we measure the borderlines. So before this nifty little prism, to measure basal area, you would start at your stake, measure the distance to a tree, measure the diameter, and then we do some calculations from that to determine if the tree was in or out. This little prism right here does that for us with refracted light. So when we are when you can't really tell, that's why we call it a borderline, and then we check it with the old-fashioned way. So I'm about to demonstrate how to do it the old-fashioned way, and it should also be on that paper. Y'all are more than welcome to read along as we go. And I'm going to show on 13, and that should leave 3 borderline trees for each tree. You should be able to read it.
I can borrow one of y'all from my partner or Ellie. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a partner on this
There you go. Very good.
We're going to take our tape and go out to the borderline tree. And quick review, where am I going to place this tape to measure the distance to this tree?
TBH.
There you go. Good.
And in the center, correct?
So we're not going to the back or front edge, but in the center of the tree. Yep.
Height. We're gonna do 28.9
Perfect.
be our distance. There's a nice.
So I've recorded that already, but in this scenario, whenever y'all try, you're going to record that on a piece of paper. So 28.9 feet would be our distance.
Once we've measured our distance, y'all are more than welcome to come a little closer if you'd like. We're going to take our diameter tape at breast height. Y'all can work with a partner to kind of keep this level. Measure around, and this should just be review on how to use a diameter tape. And 12.8 is what we're going to get right here. Once you've done that, we're going to take the two numbers we found, the distance to the tree and the diameter. We're going to multiply them together and then take that. No, that's not correct. We're going to take the two numbers we found. We're going to take our diameter of the tree at breast height, multiply it by a factor that we've already found for you, which is 2.75. That's going to be the factor for every prism that has a factor of 10. So we're going to use 2.75 all class, and almost any time you use a prism, you're going to use that, but double check for the basal area factor before. We're going to multiply our diameter by our 2.75, and then take the product, and if it is greater than the distance from the stake to the tree, it is in. Correct?
Yeah, so if you guys look on the second page we gave you where it says borderline trees, the calculation, it tells you the plot radius factor for a prism 10, which is the little thing we used, is 2.75. So that's a constant in all of our equations. And then you're going to take 2.75 and multiply it by your measurement for the diameter.
Right.
So in this scenario, we got that the diameter of this tree was 12.8. So we're going to multiply that by 2.75, our constant, and we end up getting 35.2. So now we compare that to the distance from the stake to the tree. So what we got from our equation was 35.2. Our distance was 28.9. So is it greater than or less than our distance? 35.2 or 28.9? Which one is it?
35 is less than 38.
28.
Or 20. Oh, never mind. That's
So it's
bigger.
greater than,
It's greater.
right. So that means that this tree is going to be in for our basal calculations, right, for our basal area. Does anybody have any questions? And that equation is on your sheet if you refer to it. So you guys get back into your three groups. And the other three borderline trees that we determined were 3, 9, and 15. So if y'all want to take 15, if y'all want to take 9, and y'all's group take 3, and you guys do the same measurements that we just did, and we'll come around and help you with that.
Yeah.
So if you'll use your tapes.
I borrowed somebody's diameter tape.
Oh, sorry. They're not sorry.
We have 15?
15?
Perfect.
I think so.
So again, we'll just start at the stake and measure out to the distance.
Yeah, that's important. From the stake. That's right. From the stake of the original measurement. That's right.
Did I tell you you had 13? You have 11. Did I tell you you had 13?
And that is a nice constant. 2.75 times diameter is a great number to remember. That's good. I'm glad y'all put the 7600 too. That's good to show them how you got that. That's good. 0.625. Very, very good.
I know how to do it, but explaining it without your paper is
That's okay. But as long as they remember 2.75,
Yeah.
that's a great number. And
But it
that's
is
with
on the
10.
handout.
That's with 10. Yeah, BAF 10. Yeah, there's another number for 20, but you
Right,
remember
right.
2.75, you're good.
So there's 3 different ways going
Yeah,
on
look
now.
at that. And look at the time it saves just measuring borderline trees. It's great.
So once you guys do your calculations, if you'll just go ahead and determine if it's in or out for the basal area.
And I like that. Cora is doing this on the uphill side of the tree, technically. That's a very good thing. Always DVH on the uphill side. That's great. And Cora, tell you what, I'd push that down just a little bit. Yeah, push that tape down a little bit just because, there you go, there you go. Yeah. Just keep it parallel with the ground. Yeah. Good.
15.1.
Good. Okay. This group's over here working it out.
41.5.
So that's greater than the distance. So it would be in.
Right.
Very good.
Got it.
I always remember, you know me and slogans. Greater than tape. How do I tell my kids? Greater than tape, call it in, mate. That's what I'd say. Greater than tape, call it in, mate. And then you'd know, that's in. Greater than the tape, call it in, mate. Always remember. All right. Y'all got it? Was your distance lower than or greater than the factor of 2.75 times diameter press? It was lower, so it is. What was lower? Wait a minute.
The distance.
Yeah, the distance was.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the calculation was higher than your distance?
Yes.
Then you call it in. I always remember it. Greater than distance, greater than tape, call it in, mate. That's how I remember. That's how I tell my kids. Greater than tape, the tape distance, call it in, mate. That's how I remember it.
What'd you get?
Greater than tape, call it in, mate. Good. What'd you guys get? Oh, he's going to go over.
Did everybody check their trees? Okay, so who had number 15? Did y'all decide it was in or out?
Well, we got out.
Okay. Out.
Who has number, what was the next one? 3? Is 3 a borderline?
So your number was less than the taped distance.
Alright, and y'all
Out,
had
right.
11.
Good.
In or out? Alright, so we got 2 in and 1 out.
And then
So-
ours was in over there.
Ours was in over there. So 3 of our borderline trees were in, correct? Alright, and then we had, what was our total number of in trees?
Let's see. Y'all help me count and just double check. So including our 3 borderline trees that were in, total number of in trees. 1, 2, 3, 9. Yep, I got 11 also.
11. So what would we do, and we're going to do this next class, I'm just going to explain it really quickly before we go so there's some kind of closure to this. What we would do is we would take that 11 of in trees, multiply it by our basal area factor, which if y'all remember I said these are 10s, correct? So it'll be 11 times 10 divided by the total number of samples we took, which was 15. So I'll do the math real quick for us just so we know the basal area. The basal area of this stand will be 7.3. And we'll go over how to do that in the next class. We just ran out of time. So say we wanted a basal area of 8 in this stand, then I would be correct in the beginning saying it wasn't thick enough. But if we wanted a basal area of 6, Ellie will be correct that it needs 10. Alright. Thank y'all for coming out today. Any questions? We'll go over more on this calculating basal area in the next class. So keep up with your worksheets with the numbers you written down on. We'll use them in our first practice. Thank you.
Let's give this team a round of applause, huh? All right. Yeah, as best we can with all our equipment, right? Let me go ahead and hit our pause.